Hi guys, hi. How's it going? How y'all doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing my update for Deck of Panning, which is a prompt-based game that you utilize a deck of cards and your entire makeup collection to do, and it is a game that was developed by Emily and Max here on YouTube. Miss Emily has done some really great things with some project pans here on the YouTube space for beauty creators, and I am happy to be a part of this game. This is my second year in this game, and it is so much fun, and it will make more sense as you go along, but all the information as well as the game board and all the things are down in my description box, in addition to the fact that there's so many of us on this platform that play this game. So if you don't know anything about it, it will likely make more sense as we go. But with that said, for those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high and colorful beauty and self-care. I also work at Ulta Beauty as a field leader, so I get a lot of education in my position. I like to bring you that education here, but ultimately I'm just out here talking about makeup because I like to talk about makeup, and I hope that you're here for it. I hope that you want to come along on this journey and join me because it's a lot of fun here, and I hope that you'll want to subscribe before you go. And with that said, let's jump into this update, because although I don't remember where I'm at with these prompts, I'm always super excited to film these updates. All right, so for those of you new to this, I'll just kind of quasi walk you through it. You work with the game board that Emily creates and a deck of cards, and each card in the deck correlates to a prompt that Emily shuffles every single month. Now, the aces and faces do not change every month, but the number cards do, dependent on the suit and all the things. There's a bunch of prompts that we work towards. You start with 5 products that you roll in at the intro, and then you're working on like your goal for those prompts. This has always been a usage goal setup for me, whereas my regular project pan, like my project 10 pan or my rolling 10 pan or whatever you want to call it, is my completionist project. So currently I am working on 5 items in this project, and I will roll through what those products are prior to pulling new cards for the ones that I finished. With that said, let me pull up my spreadsheet so I'm able to chat you through from a more knowledgeable place. So starting from what's been in here the longest, in May I rolled the 9 of Hearts, which at that time was favorite color. And I pulled in this MAC pigment in chartreuse for favorite color. This is a pigment that I had planned on getting 10 uses out of, and to date, I knew this was going to be in here long term. I've only used it one more time since last update. Last update we had 4 uses. This update we have 5, so I still have 5 more uses to go on this guy. So it will stay in the project. In June, I rolled in the 2 of Clubs, which was, again, favorite color. Sometimes you do get the same prompt. It's just for different cards because those are shuffled. I think it's odd that I have 2 of the same like prompt in here that I'm still like working on, but for favorite color this time I did bring in this eyeliner. This is the Neon Shockwave Liner by LA Girl, and this is in the shade Gotcha, which is, as you can see, a really, really green eyeliner. And the goal on this one was to use it down to the words. And I have only sharpened this once since bringing it in. I think that we will likely see this be in this project for at least a couple more months, honestly, because I've used it 5 times, but I only sharpened it 1 time out of the 5 uses that I got. So these are really, really nice, really creamy, buff out really, really well. I haven't got a problem using this eyeliner, but you just don't use very much of it in one fell swoop, right? It's not like it's a foundation or a bronzer or something like that. So that will likely stay in for at least a couple more months, I envision. These 2 could probably roll out at the same time. I just think it's going to be a couple months before either one of those rolls out. In June, I also pulled the 2 of Diamonds, which in June, that meant I needed to pull in a bronzer. So I did pull in this LYS matte bronzer, and I have mine in the shade Motivate, which is, I believe, the lightest shade at the time that I purchased this. And my goal was to use this 10 times. I actually have worn makeup about 15 times since the last update of this, and I have worn this almost every single time. I do have it pulled out for 13 uses. It is what is on my cheeks today. I don't necessarily love it. If I'm honest with you, I think it turns me a little bit orange. So I think at the end of the day, this could be a bronzer that I, maybe declutter in the future, but I did get my uses out of it. So I am going to pull this out of the project. It will be a card that we pull for. The next two, I kind of got a little bit confused with myself on how I was going to go about these, but I pulled the 5 of Hearts and the 6 of Hearts. And for the 5 of Hearts, we had a chopping block item. And for the 6 of Hearts, we had collecting cobwebs. And I think initially I kind of switched them inadvertently in my brain and didn't really think of how I was going about it. So I wanted this to be the chopping block item. And I think I said in the video that I was going to put Urban Decay Wired in the chopping block item. And instead, I really wanted this to be in chopping block item because this is the oldest palette that I still have in my collection. And I just wanted to know if it still worked, if I could still get use out of it without it bothering my eyes, and if it still was something that I want to keep in my collection. At the end of the day, I am not going to declutter this entirely, but this is a chopping block item. I wanted to use every single shade in this palette at least one time. You can see on my tracker, I did get that at least one time use. This is the palette. I have really had a great time with this palette, but what I did note in using it over the last 4 weeks is that these are not the same. They don't pack and blend as well as they once did. And they don't really irritate my eyes at all, but they also don't perform in the way that I would want a palette of this nature to work for me. So with that said, from a chopping block perspective, no pan left behind. I was able to complete no pan left behind on this, but I am going to retire this palette. Not that I think I have all these shades in my menagerie of palettes somewhere else. I maybe do, but this palette means so much to me in terms of that nostalgia piece. It's the catalyst for why I started my YouTube channel. It's the first real palette that I ever really went ham into. I mean, there are some crazy dips in some of these colors. I just think of all the fun that I had with this palette, and I am going to declutter it into my retirement bin, not throw it in the trash. I couldn't, I don't think, ever throw away this palette just because of the sentimentality that I have with it. But I did complete it. No pan left behind. It was my chopping block item. So I am going to pull a card and put this into retirement. It doesn't perform in the way that it once did. I struggled with it in a way that I have never struggled with it before. With that said, though, I was also able to complete for collecting cobwebs, which would have been the Urban Decay Wired palette, because I found that for these shades, when I was trying to put together eye looks in order to have them work in the way that I wanted them to work, I often pulled this palette in. It has very similar shades, if not identical shades. Some of these shades are identical to what was in that palette, but this one I wanted no pan left behind and to use each shadow twice. I was able to use each shadow twice. holding it up, I'm like, oh wait, there's one that I didn't, but that pen marking is just very light. That second pen marking, forgive my fingernails. I was able to utilize this twice for each shadow, and you guys can see the white. I did utilize so many times. I utilized it almost every single time I wore eyeshadow as like a brow bone highlight or something. I don't 100% love this palette, if I'm going to be honest, and this could probably also be decluttered, but I think because it does have, like, this one is a trash shade, if I'm honest, and this one, this blue, is nowhere near that blue in the electric palette. It's really patchy. It just doesn't work as seamlessly as that one used to, but I can build it up. This white is fantastic. I love this light pink. These shades here, which are shades that were in the Urban Decay electric palette, are actually just, they're not rivaling that Urban Decay electric palette, but I do think that I am going to hold on to this, and I'm really happy that I did get use out of this palette, because it is a palette that I haven't gotten use out of in so dang long, so it was good to have it in this project. All three of these are being rolled out, and I will be pulling 3 new cards. These 2 will stay rolled in. With that said, these are my cards right here, and we're going to go in and we're going to find the Joker so that we can make sure that the Joker is in here while I explain it. So here's the Joker. So for this game, you have to have a deck of cards with 1 Joker in the deck, and then the game board that Emily has, and I will show you the game board right now. I haven't even looked at it yet. As I said, the aces and faces do not change month over month. Those stay the same. They're pretty much yin and yang of each other. And the Joker is an Are You Joking Me product. So something in it for the long haul that you maybe don't want to pant. Maybe you don't like it, but also maybe you do like it and you're just hoarding it and you don't want to play with it. It's maybe a really expensive item for you and you don't want to see it go. Or maybe, it's an item that you love, but you'd like to see it have more use and you're getting pan on it. Or maybe it's just a long-term, like 50 use goal versus a 10 use goal, or whatever it is. And then the number cards, they get shuffled every single month. So the cards are going to denote for you whatever it is that you're using. I do have an ace, a black ace that I pulled at the very beginning of this year, and this is a get out of jail free card, so I'm holding on to it over here just in case we get a prompt that I don't want to work on. And I haven't used it yet, so I'm really super excited about that. And I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards while we are looking at the game board. Now, I don't typically talk about the things on the game board that I love and want to get, or don't love and don't want to get, but I like to mention some of the ones that I haven't had before, because that's always fun, right? Match's shirt is on here. I am wearing black, so Match's shirt could be anything from packaging to product color, right? So black eyeshadow or black packaging of some sort. 3 is a crowd I would have to check into because I don't know what that is. Out of your hands would be interesting because that means somebody else picks the product that you're using from like a handful of products. My daughter, my son, and the love of my life are here, so I guess one of them could pick it. Whole collection roulette would be something I've never gotten, but difficult because I don't have every item of my collection in one spreadsheet. Like I have it in a book of spreadsheets, but there's like 6 spreadsheets. I think there's a lot I could get in here that I would be disappointed with, and I think there's a lot I could get on here that might be fun. I continue to get the same cards. Not cards, I guess. I mean cards and prompts over and over and over again, and that's no fun, right? So we're gonna cut it right here, smack in the middle, and then shuffle one more time. All right, we're gonna pull 3 straight from the top. We have the 8 of diamonds, the Jack of spades, and the 5 of spades. 5 of spades is impulse. That's fun. I don't think I've had that before. Jack of spades is going to be a powder product because it is a black jack. I can do powder product. I don't think I've had that before. And then the 8 of Diamonds is a foundation. I don't think I've had any of these before. This is super fun. Okay, I will be right back. I'm gonna go pick my items. I think I've got some good choices here. So we're gonna start with the Jack. The Jack of Spades is a powder product. And for powder product, I am gonna bring in this. It has been forever since I used this guy. And I have honestly been thinking about using it quite a bit lately, but just haven't pulled it. To be honest, I'm not using a whole lot of highlighters these days. But this is the Too Faced Turn Up the Light Complexion Enhancing Highlighting Palette. I don't know why I chose this, but honestly, it's the first thing that came to mind. It has three different powders in it. So it has, I think it's Glow, Soft Focus, and Dazzle, and it's supposed to be made like this one specifically is supposed to be made like the ambient lighting powders, and I remember loving the ambient lighting powder, and I've really been like wearing powder a lot more on my face, so I specifically pulled it for this purpose. But I do want to use this 3 times in each powder, so I will put another Post-it note up here and mark my powder usage. For the 5 of Spades, this was an impulse purchase, and I did pull this out of my Shop My Stash drawer, but honestly, it is the only thing that I can think of when I think of never one time had it on my list of things to look at, and was in a store making another purchase, saw it sitting up at the front at the cash register and threw it in my bag because I was like, oh, this will be interesting. This is the Youthforia Chemical Reaction Blush, and I have to be honest, I've used it 1 time since I pulled it into Shop My Stash, and I wasn't super impressed with it. So I want to get 5 more uses out of this before I decide whether this is something that I will be keeping in my collection or passing along, because I've used it once, didn't love it, and was already thinking about decluttering it. But I think 5 more uses is really going to help solidify that choice for me. And then for the 8 of Diamonds, which is a foundation, I am going to pull in the Fenty Eavesdrops Skin Tint, because this is kind of more of a foundation than it is a skin tint. And I wore it the other day when we went to, we were doing something, I can't remember, and it pulled really, really orange on me, and it doesn't look like it should be orange, but I also don't know if I should keep this in my collection either. I do have, I mean, depending on which way you look at it, I'm not sure if you look at it this way or this way. They really should put a line underneath of it, because I either have shade 9 or shade 6, depending on which way you look at it. But either way, like, I have the Fenty stick foundations in shades 4 and 6, and this doesn't look like the shade 6. So I do think it's 9, maybe, I don't know. But I am going to pull this in for 5 times use. I still have 2 foundations in my project pan that I am trying to get through. I want to make it easy, but also knowing that I have other things that I'm trying to use in my project pans, I also want to make it prominent. We have 5 times uses out of each one of these, and then 3 times use out of each of the powders in here, and we'll call that good. That is my update for Deck of Panning, and I do think that I could potentially roll all 3 of these out next time, but I do think that these are long-term items. It'll be probably September-ish, I would say, before these are rolling out. But for those of you who are interested in playing this game, like I said, all the information will be linked down for you in my description box. There's also a playlist of all kinds of people that are playing this game, and go check out their videos because they're pretty fantastic. I am actually uploading a little bit later than everybody else. This typically gets uploaded on the 20th of every single month, and normally I'm early because I try to upload my videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every single week, and sometimes I am early because I'd rather be early than late. But this week stuff got away from me, so I didn't have a video go up on Friday. So this one's gonna go up on Monday, and I'm hoping I can get it edited in time to go up on Monday. But I got stuff to do this weekend too, so we will see. We will see. Thank you guys for joining me so much today. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. I hope that you are all well, all safe and healthy, and getting along as best you can, that you are all loving each other, being kind humans, and just living your best life. And until next time, bye friends.